Hey boys and girls, I'm going to color this now. So now I have it all outlined with black. I used a Pitt pen, but basically a thick marker. But if you don't know about a Pitt pen, these are the best markers ever. Paintbrush marker. They're really nice, real artist markers. In order to color this, a lot of times I like to color this with oil pastel because oil pastel can be great for learning to blend lights to darks. So this one I'm going to do with colored pencil. I've got my colored pencils all over here and organized and ready to go and sharp. Rather than, if you're using oil pastel, you would use white with your colors to do lights and darks with pressure. This one, you're really just going to use the colored pencil. You can use white. I'm just going to use the colored pencil. One other thing I'm going to do is I drew those shapes, but if you want to add some rings to these, this gives you more opportunity to kind of color some little areas and make them a little bit more, make this maybe a little bit more colorful. So I'm going to kind of get that in there. I might even do a line here, parallel to this one, line here, parallel, and then I would go straight over like that. Kind of add something else, but I might leave that one plain. So that gives us some things to work with. When you're doing highlight and shadow, lights to darks, I'm going to start with a couple darker colors. On something like this, it's a cylinder. You just have to think about where is the light. And when we looked at the Fernand Léger, his work, his stuff looked industrial, which I think of industrial things as being metal. So metal reflects a lot. So like if this would probably be the highlight area and the corners would be the dark. So I'm going to start with coloring a little bit darker on the sides, and then I've got to lighten up my pressure. And this is the challenge with this, is not making it look like you striped it light, medium, dark. That it looks like you're kind of coloring a little bit in circles. You're getting that light here. And then I'm going to go dark over here. And then I'm going to try to go medium. It's always easy to go darker. It's always harder to get the lights once you've kind of gone too hard. So that's when you kind of like, I'm going to color this a little bit more. And then get your darks really dark. That helps. Kind of add a little bit heavier pressure there. Kind of going in little circles to make it not look like it's too stripy. And that looks pretty good. So I might decide to do a pattern here. I'm going to skip one. So I might do dark, like this dark purple, and then I'm going to rotate some colors in here. And now the thing is, when you're going further back, you have to do that quicker because it's really easy to overcolor when you've got littler spaces and just start with a heavy pressure. Just kind of make sure you're not doing that. You're lightening up a little bit, getting your mediums in there so that you can have a real light area. That looks pretty good. And I would just keep going. So now if I pick a different color, and I'm not sure I would pick yellow for this. Yellow would be good for any flats because yellow is really hard to show dark to light on white paper. So I'm going to do some orange instead, which is, a little different than this bluish purple kind of color. Going medium. And you wouldn't want to do the opposite. Like you wouldn't want to say, well, it would be creative to think, oh, maybe I'll just do dark in the middle and light on the sides with this. That is a creative thought. However, if you're trying to make something really look three-dimensional, you have to kind of follow the rules of light. So light's only going to reflect and shine in one area. And it's funny how even when I just do this, like I've got this one filled in, I feel like this needs to be darker. So I need to snag I hope I picked the right one. I think it's this one. I feel like it needs to be a little tad darker there now. Lighter. So it's funny how when you get it tightened up a little bit, how that feels. So now I feel like that's where my highlight is. So I'm going to go again with another dark. Space is getting shorter for my dark. Medium. Light. You can see how you can make it look stripy. You have to be careful to try to make it look like it's really blending in. Really light in the middle. Okay, I'm getting it there. So that I would just keep going with something like that. Something like this, where I've got I've got a long space to go. I would have visualized that this would be darker up to here to light. So let's see, I might pick green for this one. And actually this would be a great place to blend some colors. So maybe I will use some yellow. I'm gonna start with a dark green down here, or darker, a little bit of a darker green. And I'm gonna kind of lighten up a little bit. And this is a practicing highlight and shadow and blending, whether you're blending one color softly or you're rotating. I'm gonna take this yellow green too. I'm gonna kind of add some yellow green on here, a little bit heavier. Now heavier. And then I'm gonna get lighter as I get to the circle. So I'm gonna add a little yellow on there to make it even more yellowy green. And this is kind of an even coloring that I'm doing. It's not like this where I'm really leaving a big space. Pretty much the whole thing's got a nice pressure to it. I feel like I've got a little bit of orange sneaking in there. So a little lighter with the yellow as I come down here, because I don't want to overwhelm my green, but doing my yellow kind of heavier towards the circle. All right, maybe a tiny little bit more of this one. Kind of get that blended in. And then for the inside of this one, I don't know if I want to get, let's see, I'm gonna definitely try this. Wherever the dark is, you got to lean it all on the same side. So this would be where I have my darker area. And then it's gonna get lighter. I'm running out of colored pencil on that one. Okay. Lighter to that side. That's where I'm going to do my yellow. Kind of curving it this way now. Now, the other thing that can be kind of fun is thinking about how you're going to color in an area like this big kind of snaky thing going around. You could do it very similar to this with different colors. So I could do every color is a different one. You could do, I know sometimes it looks kind of cool to do every other one black. Just if you got a black outline, sometimes it's kind of cool to have some, I always like to have some black with highlight and shadow of some type and something to, black to grays. So think about your colored pencil that way too. Even if you didn't have a lot of colored pencils, you could use even lead pencils. Lead pencils would look really cool. The one thing with lead pencils that's nice, especially if you have a softer lead pencil, you can really blend this way by using your fingers because the lead will soften down. It really doesn't do that as much with the actual colored pencil. They kind of stick to their spots. But a lead is super soft, and so it would actually smudge, but you just have to be prepared for the smudging to happen all over. Same with oil pastel. For this kind of section here, one thing I like that Leger would do, he would have some areas that look like, almost like, they reminded me of like steps. So I would color this heavy here along this side, and then I'd start lightening up and getting lighter and lighter. And when it doesn't look like much when you only do one, but when you start getting a whole section done like that, of like a pie piece, it really looks interesting. Or like a fan that has fan blades that are, kind of popping forward a little bit, where something's catching some light and something is getting shadowed. So if I do one like that, and then I do another one, I'll do this one here because it'll make more sense if I do this one with the same color sometimes, but you could do different. I'm just gonna stick to the same one. The medium through here. Boop. Starting to get a little bit of some wood rubbing against my paper. Try not to make this too dark. So you kind of get that kind of effect. And it looks really cool when you have like 4 or at least 3 in a row doing something like that. With this, you could do any kind of coloring: darker, lighter, darker, lighter, darker, lighter, anything that goes towards the vanishing point, darker to light. With something that's flat like this. Like something that's cylindrical, you're gonna have like a highlight in the middle. Something that you're just gonna have it fairly even, but like you might have dark to light in terms of your color coming forward. Something flat, you can color it flat. Like this square, because I didn't draw this line of perspective with it open, which you could, but if this is really just flat, so I could do one solid flat color, or I could take advantage of striping it, polka dotting it, whatever I wanted to. So can't wait to see how you color this. You can have some fun with anything you want. I want to see everybody doing some highlight and shadow for sure on most of it. I'd say more than 50% needs to be practiced of highlight and shadow. And then if you have background that you want to color a flat color, you can do that. Even these little sections here can be colored with the edges. Here's my nice dark purple. Oops, well, maybe not. With darker edges and then going light in the middle. I wish I could show you that. Wonder where my sharpener is. But I think you get the idea. Sorry about that little snafu. Let me try it with another pencil. Let's pretend that this is the same color. Let's see. So darker around the edges, then getting lighter. Or dark, yeah, kind of medium, and then kind of light in the middle. Or you can color something like a checkerboard flat. Like you don't have to do it like this, but that can be kind of a neat look. It looks all right. But if you do like a checkerboard, something like that, and then a totally different color, something totally, or you could even do these 100% totally random colors, which can be kind of a cool look too, where you don't have all of the, it's not really a real checkerboard, it's just a bunch of squares kind of in different colors. There we go. That looks a little bit more of what I was talking about. Okay, well, you can go off and do some coloring. I can't wait to see what you do.